Running a business is hard enough, so why make it harder with a dozen different apps that don't talk to each other? Introducing Odoo, the only business software you'll ever need. It's an all-in-one, fully integrated platform that makes your work easier. From CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, and more. And the best part, Odoo replaces multiple expensive platforms for a fraction of the cost. That's why over thousands of businesses have made the switch. So why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Movie night hits different when you plan it with Fandango. Open the app, find what's playing, and grab your seats in seconds. No lines, no stress. Whether you're meeting up with friends or flying solo, Fandango makes last-minute plans feel effortless. Plus, with Fan Club, you'll save every time you go to the theater. Download the Fandango app and make movie night happen. Anytime, anywhere.
At Lowe's, before the holidays is the perfect time for upgrades and upkeep. During Black Friday, get up to 50% off select major appliances and buy more to save more with up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Plus, grab select DeWalt 20-volt max drill or impact driver kits for just $99. Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 12/3. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Control yourself!
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're talking black and white cat, black and white cake. We're talking, and this is where the lesbians live. And we're talking, a cat. Kill it, Michael. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and we're talking, if these files are right, Father Halloran dies the same day that Allison Parker disappears and becomes Sister Teresa. Tomorrow.
That is so emblematic of this movie, isn't it?
It is such a... I rewound that part so many times where I was like, is this grammatically correct? It doesn't make any sense. But I mean, it does, but like it doesn't.
It does and it doesn't, and it feels like, wait, who wrote this? No one said that line out loud until we had to go in front of the camera.
Not at all. But yes, everyone, we are discussing Michael Winner's 1977 film, The Sentinel, a film that Joe has been trying to get us to cover for, I'm going to say years, Joe?
It's been years, and it's not me because this is a first time watch, so this has been recommended to us several times. As I said in the outro, we've got a couple of listeners who have been begging us for, yes, at least 2.5 years at this point. We just always bounced it around the schedule, I think in part because neither you or I had seen it, so we didn't feel too strongly about it, but we wanted to make an effort to get it on the schedule this year, so welcome to the last month of the year. We're squeezing it in.
Meanwhile, all those Waxwork fans are like, what the fuck, guys?
Trace and I have yet to confirm next year's schedule.
But yeah, no, this was a first time watch for me, and this is interesting, Joe. I don't think this is a good movie, but I found so much of it there's so many good ideas here that I think with a different execution, this borders close to good to great for me, but it's just not there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a messy movie. I think that it is better in parts than as a whole film. But I would also happily take some kind of remake of this movie that has a slightly more polished script, maybe a bit of a... I was going to say a tighter edit, but I don't think that's the problem, because as you and I were talking about before we started recording, it almost feels like we're missing important pieces of information or we pass over things far too quickly. So in some ways, I need this movie to be longer.
Y'all, like, mark down this day in history, because it's one of the only times you will hear me say on this podcast, I wish this movie were longer.
We've said it a couple times. We said, you know what, this needs about 10 minutes extra just to flesh certain things out. But yeah, it's not often. Usually if you say, this movie's 4 minutes? I'm a happy boy. But in this case, I just thought, I don't think I have everything quite right.
I'm in the exact same boat as you. So I feel like the more we do this podcast, Joe, the more in sync we are on most things.
It's a little alarming.
It's very upsetting, actually. I feel like I'm losing my individuality.
Every once in a while, though, you and I are just going to punch each other's lights out when we disagree.
Yeah, absolutely. But, okay, well, do you want me to just kind of dive right into this?
Let's do it.
Okay, so yes, The Sentinel, directed by Michael Winner, who is best known for directing the first 3 Death Wish films with Charles Bronson.
Okay, fun time. So he's known for his action.
Yeah, but he's a British guy, which I thought was really interesting too.
Okay.
But in his commentary for the film, and that's where I'm pulling most of this information from. By the way, y'all, if y'all want to hear a really fun director do a commentary on one of his films,
oh yeah,
this is the one.
All right.
But he's very candid, and so I would recommend if you are, say, Chris Sarandon, you never listen to this commentary.
You mentioned that to me, and it killed me because this is poor baby face Chris Sarandon's big first film, right?
Technically, no. He was Oscar nominated before this.
Oh my God. Oh, wow.
Yes, I know. But hold on. We'll get to the Chris Sarandon of it all. Oh, actually,
okay.
By the way, though, I swear to God, I feel like when we covered Fright Night or something, maybe we learned, I need to go back and listen to the episode, but like I, in my head, always thought that Chris Sarandon and Susan Sarandon were siblings,
brother and sister,
or step-siblings. Yep. They were married.
Yes. I actually double-checked that before we started recording because I thought the exact same thing. And it's because it doesn't make any sense that she kept his name after she divorced and has been known professionally by that name for the entirety of her career.
It has to be just because it sounds good, because
it sounds great.
Her maiden name is Tomalin, so does Susan Tomalin or Susan Sarandon have a better ring to it, you know?
Yeah, and in case you were wondering, folks, Chris and Susan were in fact married during the production of this film. They didn't get divorced until 1979.
They were indeed. So, okay. But in this commentary, Winner says, if I have one rule for you if you're in Hollywood, it's always go to a party if you're invited, because he went to one held by Herb Jaffe, who at the time was one of the heads of United Artists. And
all right.
One of the guests at this party was Ned Tannen, who was the president of Universal Pictures production department. And so they're meeting, they're talking, and Tannen told Winner, we've got a script that we've never gotten right, and it was an adaptation of this book called The Sentinel, which was written by Jeffrey Konvitz. And the book had come out some time ago, and they had bought the rights to it back then, but I guess when it came out in hardback, it did very badly. It did very poorly in sales, and so the studio kind of forgot about it. But by the time this party was happening, the paperback copy of the book had just come out, and it had done really well.
So people said, I don't want to pay that much for this trashy, lurid horror novel. But when you could buy it as a paperback and take it on an airplane, they said, yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was just in airports all over the world. And people were like, yeah, sure, why not? What's a Sentinel? I mean, honestly, I didn't really know what a Sentinel was. And I feel really dumb about it.
Yeah, it's just a guard.
I know. But the first thing that comes into my mind when I hear the word Sentinel is those
X-Men.
No. Actually, good one, though. But no, it's the Matrix.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the same idea, right? They're all embodiments.
It is the same idea. I just thought they were big robot monsters, but
okay. Yeah.
And also the X-Men, they're also big robot monsters in X-Men. Anyway.
See, you're forgiven.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so by this point, though, they had actually had a number of scripts written for it that they had turned down, including one written by Straw Dogs director Sam Peckinpah.
Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So, the paperback does well. Universal has a renewed interest in it. And Tannen asked Winner if he could send him the book. And Winner was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. I love money. And Tannen commissioned Winner to write the script, saying that he could direct it if they liked the script that he turned in.
Okay, high stakes.
Yes, but apparently, so this wasn't just a partied conversation. They had signed a contract and everything. And so Winner was packing his bag to go back to England to, read the book and write this stuff. And while he was packing, Tannen's assistant called him and goes, hey, Michael, we just realized we forgot to ask you something. Can you write?
Oh, that's a bit of an after the fact thing, but
Now, of course, he'd written several screenplays by this point, which I guess they didn't realize. But I was just
rude.
Really? You're just okay, whatever. This seems unprofessional, but
all these fucking weird handshake deals, right? Just we met over cocktails. We were talking about this best-selling book. We knew you were about to get on a plane. It was a paperback bestseller, so we just said, yeah, why don't you make the move? Oh, wait, can you write? this is ridiculous.
Well, and I wonder if they should really care that much because of what this is, you know? I mean, I feel like the most obvious comparison for this film is Rosemary's Baby with a dash of The Exorcist in it.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Winter goes back to England. He found it to be a very easy script to write because, in his words, the book was very clear. He wrote it in 2 weeks, but he thought this was too quick, and he didn't want the suits to think he had rushed it, so he held on to it before he sent it over to them.
Wow. Okay. Cheeky.
Now, Joe, you had mentioned to me offline that this is a pretty one-to-one adaptation of the book, correct?
So I looked into it on Goodreads just to read the description and a couple of different reviews. And yeah, the plot is pretty similar. So folks, if you find the movie a little bit ludicrous, I do think that we can blame the source material. Now, you could make the argument, oh, well, you should have touched up things or made them more clear or fleshed it out in a screenplay. I don't know what to tell you about that. Maybe, Trace, you've got some more information. But it does seem like, yeah, we read the book and then we took the source material and more or less put it into the screenplay.
Yeah, I don't really have much more information on it, except I know the book is less than 300 pages, which for me, I'm kind of like, I feel like 300 pages is kind of like the sweet spot for like a complete feeling book, if that makes any kind of sense for me. But when it's less than 300 pages, I'm like, oh, this is really short. Is this basically a novella? Even though that's not true.
No, that's not correct. A novella is anything around 100 pages. But I get what you're saying, because it does feel like, oh, this is just something you could read in one, maybe even 2 sittings. If you really get into it, if it's a page turner, then bam, you're already done it.
Exactly. So he turns in the script finally after waiting, a couple more weeks. So, he said it was the quickest yes he ever had. They loved the script, and Ned Tannen said that they put it in the quote unquote go position, which apparently is basically like all but the official green light. And
I'm just imagining some exec's desk and there's like 3 different file folders, and one is like burn it immediately, one is sent back for rewrites, and the other one is just all systems go.
But then there's another one for green light, right? Like, because I guess to me it's like, well, that means that you could pull the plug on this if you wanted to, like before the green light has happened. But
yeah, I mean, at this point they probably only committed to paying him for the script, because I think at that point, if they had actually signed a contract, they would need to give him money. But yeah, just because they like the script, if anything happened, they could probably just pull the plug.
Yeah, but apparently at this point too, if a film was in the go position, that would normally entail already having big actors signed on. And at this point, they had none.
Yeah.
And Tannen told Winter, we don't need stars in this movie. And
well, it's a horror film.
I'm assuming because it's a horror film. However, the cast for this movie, which I'll get into in a bit,
it's wild.
It's kind of like one of those disaster movies from the 70s, right? Like those all star-studded cast movies.
Yes. The thing that I don't have the knowledge of is whether any of these people were actually famous at the time.
They were.
Okay.
I would argue that probably our leads were not, but all of the glorified cameos in the film were.
Right.
So, okay. Also, book author Jeffrey Konvitz did not like the script that Winter had submitted. And Winter, in this commentary, says, I think it's because he had written a script that was rejected by the studio and I got the green light. But either way, Konvitz does get a co-screenwriting credit on the film with Winter, because I imagine they're both pretty similar in structure and plot points.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, okay, so but back to this, like, no famous actors thing. Winter took it upon himself to get Martin Sheen to be in the movie, to play the lead role of Michael, the one that would, of course, eventually be played by Chris Sarandon.
Right.
Well, so basically, Winter took Martin Sheen, he didn't take him, but he took the idea of Martin Sheen to Tannen, and Tannen turned him down, saying, well, no, he's been doing too much television. Like, he doesn't have, like, no one knows what he's doing. And I'm like,
that old thing. Because you have to remember, folks, there was a time where doing television basically meant you couldn't make movies because you had to be one or the other.
Well, and at this, Winter was like, well, who's he been doing television for? And Tannen's reply was, well, he's been doing it for us, because he was doing it on the network that Tannen owned.
Which is also kind of wild then, because you already have a relationship with him. I mean, maybe they just truly couldn't picture him on anything other than the tiny box in your living room as opposed to the big screen, but that seems short-sighted.
Well, at the time, during this casting process, Chris Sarandon was up for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for a 5-minute screen appearance as Al Pacino's gay drug addict boyfriend in Dog Day Afternoon, which, by the way, no idea there was gay stuff in that movie, so now I want to watch it.
And Chris Sarandon.
yeah. But Winter was like, I don't like. How do you watch that and think he can be in this movie? Like his gay drug addict boyfriend doesn't have much to do with playing a lawyer in New York with his proper clothes on.
I guess you just see potential. Oh, this guy's really convincing.
Well, so okay, let's get into this. So. Tannen wanted Sarandon, and at the time they were casting, Sarandon was... really, we gotta go through Chris Sarandon's filmography, because Sarandon was in the rape revenge film Lipstick. He played the rapist. But Tannen said, why don't you go see him in this movie? See how good he is. And Winter went to go see it, and in his words, I thought he was terrible in this movie.
Wait, this is Lipstick or Dog Day Afternoon?
Lipstick. He thought he was terrible in Lipstick. And I mean, I'm sure that Lipstick is not aged well. It was not received well at the time, but I want to watch it. Anyway,
of course you do.
So he told the head of Universal's casting department, like, this guy was terrible. Like, I don't want him in my movie.
And they said, well, do you want to make the movie?
Well, so the casting department goes, are you going to tell Ned Tannen? Because, they were both kind of afraid of the boss, even though Tannen seemed like a pretty chill guy, but whatever. Winter said no, because he didn't want Tannen to cancel the film since Sarandon was his one choice for the movie.
Yeah, I think in that case, you just gotta swallow your pride and say, okay, I guess this is the guy. It's very Mulholland Drive, right? Mm-hmm. This is the guy.
This is the guy. So, filming began in May of 1976 with a budget of $3.5 million. And for the first few weeks, Winter did not send the dailies over to the studio because they were filming in New York and the studio was in LA. So it wasn't just like a handed over situation. So
right.
After 3 weeks, they sent the dailies over, and Tannen called Winter going, "Who's the Greek waiter playing the lead in your movie? I don't like him at all."
God.
And Winter goes, that's Chris Sarandon.
Chris Sarandon.
That was your choice. And Tannen replies, well, why didn't you fire him at the very beginning? And Winter goes, I didn't have the guts to fire him because you put him in the lead role.
Oh my God. This is a miscommunication of epic scope, but also Chris Sarandon's not bad in this movie.
No, I think he's totally fine.
He's fine.
The reason I say don't listen to this commentary, Chris Sarandon, is because it's not like we get this story in the commentary, but like not like all throughout the film, but every now and then, like Winter's kind of
little
like
jabs.
Like little jabs at Sarandon's acting. Consider calling him very, very wooden.
Okay.
I've seen other reviews saying that our lead actress Christina Rains is also very wooden in the film. I actually like her performance in this movie.
I think it's fine. I mean, she's basically being gaslit the entire fucking movie. So I don't know how you don't act a little bit, like, hey, what's going on with the world?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to be like more like bigger or something. I mean, like, I feel like she gets plenty of moments to react to like really horrific things happening around her. But
I think so. She eats shit a bunch of times. So I enjoyed that. Like anytime this actress has an opportunity, she face plants into something because she's constantly fainting.
Well, thankfully, Winter was able to bring aboard actors he'd worked with over the years, including some he hadn't, because apparently he was just really good at attracting like really big names. Now, granted, were they big names in the 70s or were they big names in like the 40s, 50s, and 60s? That's kind of the case here. So
legacy holdovers.
Very much so. So this includes, Ava Gardner, Burgess Meredith, John Carradine, who has one line of dialogue in this movie. Jose Ferrer, father of Miguel Ferrer, by the way.
I knew it.
Arthur Kennedy, Sylvia Miles, and Eli Wallach. Eli Wallach, by the way, I know mainly because he's the old man that Kate Winslet like houses up with in The Holiday.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not in a romantic way. He's like a screenwriter who's like, they become friends.
Yeah,
but
they just become friends.
But all these people are, with the exception of, I would say, maybe Ava Gardner and Burgess Meredith. Burgess Meredith plays the Charles Chasen guy with the cat character.
He's the creepy upstairs neighbor.
Yes, but all of the rest of them are basically glorified cameos. And this movie also marks early on-screen appearances for Christopher Walken and Jeff Goldblum, each of whom also maybe have 2 lines of dialogue, as well as Beverly D'Angelo, who doesn't have a single line of dialogue in this movie, but she is naked.
Yes, and that's because she's playing a nearly mute character, and I should apologize. I think at the end of last week's episode, I said that Barbara Crampton was in this movie. This is the role that I thought she was playing, and it's actually Beverly D'Angelo, so my apologies.
That's okay. You're forgiven. I forgive you. Sin wiped away.
I mean, can you imagine if this was just like tatas hanging out for...
I mean,
I guess we've seen Barbara Crampton's boobs as well. But
yeah, I mean, we just watched Reanimator. Her boobs are all over that movie.
That's true, yeah.
But yeah, so comparisons to films like Rosemary's Baby and The Exorcist, as I said, are understandable. But I think the biggest connection to The Exorcist is that the person handling the makeup effects in this movie is none other than Dick Smith, who did the makeup effects on The Exorcist. And also Scanners, and Death Becomes Her, and the remake of House on Haunted Hill, and his Oscar-winning work in Amadeus.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I don't think that this movie is really heavy with the makeups. Like, even the special effects, it's not that kind of film.
To me, it's the scene where she encounters her father as well. I was going to say ghost, but it's his demon self. And like his nose gets cut off and his eye gets popped out like that.
Oh, okay, that one is good. Yeah.
That is where I was like, oh, this is really neat. I also thought that a lot of the climax was makeup, but those are actual actors. But those were actual people that had disabilities from birth. So that's something that I actually thought was really impressive too, that they went and found all these people. But the reason they did that though is because they didn't have the makeup budget to put makeup on all these people.
Okay. Yeah, we had to reserve it for the one old dude up in the attic as well.
Pretty much, yes. But yeah, so The Sentinel was released on February 11th, 1977, and wound up grossing $4 million against its $3.5 million production budget. So
okay, so that's why we never get the sequel adaptation for the books.
I mean, wait, is there a sequel to the book? Do you know?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it at the end.
Okay, that's fascinating. But according to Winner, this movie did get rave reviews from two main sources. British critics, because they were his people.
Okay.
And New York critics, because this film is all I was going to say,
because they like New York, yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know that that's the hill you want to die on in terms of, no, this movie got good reviews. It's like, from the people who are either in your quarter because you come from that country or because of where you shot it. Like, you should be striving for a little bit more.
Pretty much. But generally speaking, I mean, this wasn't a particularly beloved film. So we're looking at a 43% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Letterboxd users have given this a 3.3 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm with you. This is about a 3. It's an odd little film. I'm not unhappy I watched it, but I can definitely understand why a bunch of people are going to say, I have no idea what this movie is. So I think we'll probably get a lot of folks checking this out for the first time. But yeah, it's just not wholly successful. You can kind of see where the problems are.
Yeah, I think like in my mind, I kept getting this movie confused with the Barbara Hershey movie, The Entity, which very different films, mind you. But I do want to cover that one day because that movie, I think, is one of the most upsetting films I've ever seen.
Yeah, that one's going to have to come with a content warning.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's literally the ghost rape movie. So, yeah. But Joe, what happens in The Sentinel?
Okay, first, Trace, would you like to play a game?
I want to play a game. The rules are simple. All you have to do is sit here and talk to me.
Okay, I'm going to start you off easy. You've already done 50% of the legwork for this, so I would love for you to name all of the films that we've done that feature Chris Sarandon.
Oh, fuck you. Okay, so definitely Fright Night.
Yes.
Chris Sarandon. What have
Chris Sarandon in a horror film.
Have we covered the remake of Fright Night?
We have not.
Okay, well, he's in that.
Although I forgot that he cameos in that.
Yeah, he does. He gets killed, like, immediately.
Of course.
Oh, God.
I'll give you a hint. There's a very memorable scene of him driving and a knife comes up right between his legs.
Oh, my God. Child's Play.
There we go. Yes.
Is that it, or do we have more?
That's it.
Oh, 50% of the work. There you go.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. The harder game is I would like you to name as many previous episodes as you can that feature priests.
Fuck you.
Now, these, I don't have a master list. I tried to put together as many as I could spot sort of like on a quick glance, but I will accept anything that has a sort of significant priest character or a set piece involving a priest.
Oh, fuck, man. Okay.
You've already named one.
The Exorcist?
There you go. You can do this. I've got faith in you.
I'm priest characters.
Think of religious movies.
I know. See, this is the putting on the spot thing where I'm just like, I don't know. Especially when we have we are on episode 363 or something right now.
Somewhere around there.
Plus our 400 plus hours of Patreon episodes.
Yes, and I am including the Patreon episodes. So
I know. Okay, wait. Did Amityville? It's About Time have a priest in it?
Ooh.
You don't even know.
That's not one of the ones that came up, so I don't think so.
Okay. I'm sure. Well, the remake of the Amityville Horror, we've definitely done a commentary on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I have no idea.
How about a movie with some people who go around getting rid of spirits? They have a bad reputation.
A movie with people getting rid of spirits, bad reputation.
We just watched one this year. It was their fourth and final outing.
Oh, the Conjuring movie. Any Conjuring film.
Any Conjuring movie.
Oh, my God. So, yeah. And that includes, like, Annabelle shit and whatever the fuck. The Nun.
Yes.
Okay.
What about a movie that's like The Exorcist, only not as good, but from the same era?
Like The Exorcist, only not as good. We haven't covered Rosemary's Baby. I guess no one would say that's not as good as The Exorcist.
We have technically covered the new one, but I wouldn't really say that one has a significant enough presence from a priest.
Did we not do an audio commentary on Rosemary's Baby for Apartment 7A?
We have not, no.
Jesus Christ, man, my memory.
We decided not to for Polanski-related reasons.
Right. We're going to have to revisit that. Okay, a movie from the... The Omen!
There you go.
The Omen. Okay, yeah. I don't know, man. You're going to have to give me clues now for all these.
Okay. One is a cannibal movie that we covered very early with a female director.
Raw. Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense.
No.
There's not a priest in that movie. A cannibal movie with a female. Ravenous.
There you go. Yes. This is an interesting one. How about a movie with Vin Diesel set on a foreign world?
Pitch Black.
Yeah.
There's a priest in that movie? Oh, yes. Yeah. Got it.
How about one where people, if they see something, they will go insane and self-harm?
If they see something, they will go... Bird Box.
Yes, except not the original.
Oh, the sequel.
Yeah, the Barcelona one.
Barcelona, yeah.
Barcelona. Okay, we'll go for one more. We'll see if you can get this, because I think you never remember the other one that I had written down. We just celebrated an anniversary with this film. Yeah, so the film didn't celebrate an anniversary. We did.
Oh, so it's something that we would have... I guess in the beginning of the year.
No, we have anniversary milestones for the podcast.
What would it be besides the year we started?
I don't know, Trace. You mentioned we're on episode 360 something. What was an anniversary that we crossed off this year?
350. Oh, like From Dusk Till Dawn? Is that a priest in it? Oh, yeah, of course. Harvey Keitel's a priest in that movie. Oh, my God. Listeners, I'm so sorry. I know you're screaming at me.
No, it's super fun. We love to make them scream at you. Here's the thing. That was hard, right? Part of me was like,
yes!
there's actually less than you might expect. Because initially I went in thinking, oh my God, this is going to be so easy. He's going to rattle off like 10 just off the top of his head. But the reality is that we have a lot of movies that deal with religion, not as many of those involve a priest as I would have thought. Because initially I was like, oh, Saint Maud, Alien 3. And I was like, no, those are just religious characters.
Right.
They're not necessarily priest-based.
Wait, was there another movie that you were like, oh, you're never going to get that one anyway? Was there another movie on your list?
Yes, there is one. I can give you a clue.
Give
you
me
can
a clue.
try.
Yeah.
Okay. It involves a teenage antichrist who is very gay-coded.
Eli?
Oh.
No, but there's not a priest in that movie. Although I guess there
is a nun. Yeah, I debated whether to include nun. You know what? I would accept that. That was not the one I had in mind. But
a teenage antichrist. I'm thinking
it's from the early 80s.
Oh fuck. Fear No Evil.
There you go.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. I do remember that one. Okay. Just because of those chunky makeup effects.
Oh my God. The cereal on the face. Yes.
Cereal on the face. Okay. Well, I flubbed the fuck out of that. So
I think you're being a little hard on yourself.
Well, it's because I'm normally good at trivia, Joe. I don't like to lose.
Fair enough.
Just in, thousands of winter arrivals at your Nordstrom Rack store. Save up to 70% on coats, slippers, and cashmere from Kate Spade, New York, Vince, UGG, Levi's, and more.
Check out these boots.
They've got the best gifts.
My holiday shopping hack? Join the Nordy Club.
Get an extra 5% off every Rack purchase with your Nordstrom credit card. Plus, buy it online and pick it up in store the same day for free. Big gifts, big perks. That's why you Rack.
Bob Evans' creamy mac and cheese and buttery mashed potatoes are made for those holiday moments you just can't plan for. Like when the neighbors burnt their holiday meal and you invited them over. Or that time when everyone's flights home were canceled and they stayed an extra 2 days. So when there is no plan, say hello to Plan B.O.B. When you bring out the Bob, you can take comfort this holiday season knowing you'll always have something delicious on the table no matter what the holidays bring. When you need comfort, bring out the Bob. Available now in your refrigerated section.
At Lowe's, before the holidays is the perfect time for upgrades and upkeep. During Black Friday, get up to 50% off select major appliances and buy more to save more with up to an additional 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Plus, grab select DeWalt 20-volt max drill or impact driver kits for just $99. Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 12/3. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Okay, let's talk about this movie. We begin in northern Italy, and I'm going to say, I don't know why we begin in northern Italy. I think we could have cut this scene out and it would have been completely fine.
Yeah, and on the commentary, Winter's like, oh, I love being able to do things like this because I can just take like a camera crew and just go to Italy and like spend time there for a few days. And I was like,
fuck? Is he Ocean's 11ing this?
Yeah, I think that's what he was doing.
Jesus Christ. That is not a reason to put it in your movie, sir. Yeah, so this is our introduction to robed figure because this character never actually gets a name, but he is played by Jose Ferrer, and he enters a small church so that he and other priests can pray. And I do believe that this is also our introduction to the other guy, Monsignor Franchino, who is played by Arthur Kennedy. But really, we're just paying attention to his ring, which has a crucifix Jesus figure on it.
Yeah, and basically these guys are like just looking kind of culty, talking about how something can't come out and we've got to, there is danger, let no evil thing approach or enter, yada, 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 yada.
It's like scripture, but not quite, and we're praying it out, but this is so out of context that you can't help but wonder, are these good members of the clergy, or are they, Satanists or something? Are they up to no good? That
actually is something I did like about this movie and wish it would have dug into deeper, because so much of the church, like any scenes involving members of the church in this movie have a sinister air to them. And
very much so.
I think that the way the church goes about procuring their sentinels is really fucked up. And so
it's so fucked up.
I really wish the film never interrogates this at all. No one ever asks the church, why? What are you not giving these people a choice in what they're doing? Like,
no.
And we'll talk about it when we get there. But that's something that I found deeply interesting that I wish the movie had interrogated even a little bit.
Yeah, and just to give you a bit of a tease, it's possible that we explore this a little bit more in the book sequel, which does involve things to do with the Vatican.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so we cut to New York City, and Trace, it is fashion. It is Isa Bloramar's fashion.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. Yes, we were just doing a photo shoot for this, and the score is kicking in, and then we get this title card.
Oh my God, this score. Who did this fucking score?
It is,
because
I wrote in my notes, the score that accompanies the title card, I just wrote in my notes, like, in all caps, bombastic.
Yeah, whereas I wrote, Jesus, this score.
Oh, man. I mean, our composer is actually an American jazz musician, Gil Maillet. But he had done the score for like the Andromeda Strain. And that's kind of really the only big thing he's done a lot of TV work. Which, yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah. I mean, we're hiring from television. Why don't we get a composer from television as well?
Yeah, but actually, I guess the Andromeda Strain was a TV movie, so
yes.
That makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, it is quite loud and in your face at several points in this film, including, yes, over these opening credits. And this is more or less our introduction. This is a very unusual way to introduce our protagonist. So we basically have Michael, who is a lawyer, played by Chris Sarandon, and then he is dating a model named Allison Parker, who is played by Christina Rains. And our introduction to these two characters is that they are separately looking for new apartments. And then it's revealed that they've actually been living together for like 6 months to a year. And he's trying to find a place that they can move into for after they get married. And she doesn't want to marry him yet. So she's looking for her own apartment.
Well, but the way it's, because you're like, okay, this makes sense, right? Okay, she's not ready to move in with him yet. You know, she wants to be on her own a little bit longer. Totally makes sense.
Sure.
The film will slowly dole out information as to why she feels this way.
Yeah, and it is wild. I mean, I suppose we could do a content warning. We do actually see her attempt suicide, and we will learn that she has previously done this no less than 2 times.
Yeah, exactly. Which will play a big part into why she's selected by the church.
I will say I kind of appreciated that it isn't just this random throwaway thing like, oh, this is a mental health issue that she's had. It's like, no, it does play a part in the narrative. I would argue it's not unpacked or, as you said, interrogated enough in this film. So it does still feel a little bit like a shorthand. And yet, I don't know. I thought that it was unique. I'm probably just going to keep saying unique throughout this episode.
No, I agree. Just when we get to the flashback with her father, that's also unique.
Jesus. Fuck, yes. Okay. Before we leave this house hunting sequence behind, I did want to note that the realtor who talks to Michael in this $1,000 a month apartment, to which I said, in $1977? Jesus, New York has always been expensive, apparently. But this realtor asks Michael, because he says, I'm looking for me and my girlfriend. She's a model. So he's looking for mirrors, closet space, and that kind of stuff. And this realtor goes, oh, are you a model? And Michael just goes, no, I'm a lawyer. And the realtor goes, you look kind of well-dressed. And I just thought,
gay.
Oh, are you one of us?
I mean, because he does ask him if he's married, but it's that weird. You are married, aren't you? Like you're supposed to be married if you're. I'm like, this is New York. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, like, do you want to rent the apartment or not? But I did wonder if it was one of those, oh, it's a lot of space for one person, so I just want to make sure you're aware of that. Or it could be, there's a lot of families in this building, so it's kind of an unspoken code, like, I don't want to rent to a single man. I don't want to rent to a single woman. We've seen those kinds of things before. I'm specifically thinking back to, remember Windows, that lesbian rape film? Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was some interesting stuff about like, oh, how does one rent an apartment in New York City? Okay, so during this period, we do hear Allison mention one of her things is that she has spent some time in a hospital. So that's the other. She doesn't want to keep living with Michael. She doesn't want to marry Michael. And part of this has to do with a recent hospital stay. But
she does love him. And yeah, she's been with him for 2 years ever since she got out of the hospital. And it's one of those lines where you hear it and you're kind of like,
wait, what?
Like, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah. Is that going to come back? And they do, to their credit. So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Allison is on this house hunting trip with her friend Jenny, who is played by Deborah Raffin. And as they leave, they are spied upon by Monsignor Franchino. So he is in New York. He is no longer in Italy. And we know it's him because we see the ring again.
Yep.
So that night, Michael and Allison disagree about the future. She wants her own place. He wants to get married. And you think, okay, let's have a conversation about this because really we don't know much about these characters yet. And the scene just kind of ends there. And I'm going to say this is the first of many examples throughout this film where you think something more is going to happen and then we just cut away from it.
Well, because doesn't this scene end though because she gets the call that her father's in the hospital, so then we have to cut right away, and it's like, okay, so we go to the hospital and father dies. She seems
immediately. Immediately. It's like, oh, something bad has happened, because of her reaction, and then she's just at the hospital. Dad dies. We don't even exchange a word, and then we're at the funeral.
And then, okay, at the funeral, Joe, we get this flashback, and explain to me what happens in this flashback.
Okay, so this visually, I think, is very innovative. So we see her, she basically is having a breakdown. So she tells her mom, I can't go on, go without me. I'm just going to hang around the house. Or like, this house is palatial. I actually thought that this was the funeral home or some kind of mausoleum. Right. Apparently, this is the childhood home. It's huge. So we see Allison wandering around, and this is actually being cross-cut with a younger version of Allison. So we're in her memories as she is reminiscing. We see younger Allison walk in on her father with 2 naked women. The circumstances of this sex act, this sex party, are bizarre. There are balloons.
Well, I wrote an orgy with cake. Like, yeah. Like, maybe it's a birthday orgy.
Maybe?
Going back to what you were saying about visually interesting, because like I forgot about this. But yeah, so we see the younger Allison actually walk by the older Allison down the hallway, which I was like, again, it reminds me of Flanagan's Oculus, which obviously this movie predates that. But I love when flashbacks are done like that, where they're kind of like crossing paths with the present timeline.
Yeah, it almost feels like you are an observer in your own history. And I wish we had played around with that a little bit more, but really we only get this? Yeah. This is the only flashback, I think. So
and so she walks in on her dad with like 3 naked women with cake everywhere. And she freaks out. Her dad gets up, slaps the fuck out of her. Grabs the crucifix. He rips the crucifix necklace off. Actually, oh fuck. Well, you know what? I think we discovered this is a cross because crucifix has to have Christ on it. Right? Yeah. But so I got the impression that the movie was setting up, okay, her dad was then involved in some kind of cult because he seems to be very anti-religious. Like, he balks at her necklace.
I think part of it is that he feels like she's judging him because she is religious, and he is stepping out because none of the women in the room that he has been fucking with the cake and the balloons are his wife.
Right. And they are all laughing hysterically.
Yeah, they were having a great old time until this daughter interrupted. So he beats the shit out of her. And then immediately after this, he leaves and she has her first suicide attempt. So she cuts her wrists.
And again, this is kind of a moment where it's like, this is edited so quickly. So it's like, she just runs right to the bathroom, starts cutting herself. She passes out. The dad walks in. Oh my God. And then the flashback's over. And I was like, whoa. Wait, this was a lot of information to get. And I'm going to say less than 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of massive. It's wild in that capacity, right?
Yeah. So, but that being said, though, when this scene happened, I was like, okay, movie, what are we doing here? We're really going a little bonkers with this. But again, we don't really get something like this again.
Not until later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first she has to return to New York because, I mean, this was either Baltimore or some fucking place in Europe because I still can't process that space. But she comes back to Michael. He still wants to marry her. She still doesn't want to get married. So we're at an impasse. And ultimately, well, he has to travel because he's representing some guy who embezzled a bunch of money and bought a bunch of convertibles. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. It's a running gag in the movie, but he's out of town and she takes this opportunity to call about a Brooklyn Heights brownstone. So she goes to visit it with the realtor, Miss Logan, who is played by Ava Gardner.
Yes. We actually just remember one brief thing. She has dinner with her mother at one point where she asked her mother, like, why did she stay with her father? Who I guess the mom, everyone knew this guy was abusive. And her mom tells her, well, I had nowhere else to go. And that's why I stayed with him. And so again, that's something that I think is very interesting that we'll never see this mother again.
We will never see her again, but then when Allison returns and she and Michael revisit the marriage conversation, she literally uses her mother's line. And then she does say, that's what my mother told me, but it's clearly also part of her reason for not wanting to get married. So I think the takeaway is that she doesn't believe in marriage because she saw how her father treated her mother.
Well, and honestly, for Michael, I'm kind of like, why do you want to get married? Do you want to have to pay someone else to kill her again when you don't like her anymore?
Oh my God, spoiler alert.
I know,
which
spoiler
also
alert.
The film does not want to interrogate. It just drops that bomb in the third act.
Yeah.
And then we don't touch it again. It's okay.
I mean, it's supposed to be that we're wondering the entire time once Gatz, the detective, is introduced, because he brings it up. But Gatz is he's kind of a reprehensible character. So
I don't like him, so I don't trust him.
Exactly. He just seems like an annoying cop, which maybe that's the point. Because maybe we're supposed to like really trust Michael and be really shocked when the reveal comes out that he did have his wife murdered.
Which I would have been, except that we don't spend any fucking time on it. So I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, we've moved past it?
But Ava Gardner as this realtor. And
she's great. I love her.
I do too. And she has 3-4 scenes in this movie. And she's not sinister. Like, I know I've used that word already, but there's something off about her.
She is towing that line. These sequences feel so Rosemary's Baby.
100. She's really channeling Ruth Gordon in these scenes.
Yeah. Which is part of the reason why she's so great, because you think, oh, okay, I've got these residual goodwill memories from Rosemary's Baby, and this is the vibe it's giving me. And this woman she's not camping it up, but she's playing it like she has secrets, and she's not telling the whole truth.
I think out of all the people that gaslight Allison in this movie, it's the most entertaining to watch Miss Logan and Ava Gardner gaslight Allison, because there's a moment too where she's showing around this house. You know, she says, "Oh, it's $500 a month," and Allison's like, "Well, it's too expensive." And her next reply is, "Oh, well, $400 a month isn't that bad." Well, you said $500. No, I said $400.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll come to realize Miss Logan is in on the take. Like, she clearly works with the church because she knows exactly what's going on, because she's showing the revamped model at the end of the movie after we've torn this building down and put up shiny new condos.
Okay, but like, maybe we can talk about it more like when we get to the actual epilogue of the film. But is Miss Logan seems to be immortal? Like, she doesn't age? Because I'm pretty sure the coda, the epilogue, like takes place months or years into the future.
I think it's meant to be... It's not a terribly long time. I think as much time as it takes to tear down a building and put up a new one. But yeah, you're not wrong. It wouldn't be, the next week or anything. I
mean, Allison looks pretty fucking old when she's up in that nun outfit, but sure.
Well, Trace, it's because as soon as you become the Sentinel, you immediately go blind and aged.
I knew you went blind, but I was like, wait, you age too? Because I just figured...
Immediately, yeah.
I guess I figured you age as time goes on because you're there for X amount of time until the next one comes to take your spot.
No, you basically just get hit with grayscale ASAP.
What a raw deal, man.
No, it's the worst. That's what I'm saying. This movie's supposed to be like, yeah, Allison was chosen for something her life has meaning, and instead it's the grimmest fucking ending.
Whatever. This is the end of the movie. But like the whole reason the church picks her is because she is committed. She's tried to die by suicide. So even though she didn't actually die by suicide, that's because dying by suicide is quote unquote like the biggest sin, because you don't in Catholicism, you don't have a chance to ask for forgiveness for dying by suicide. So it's an immediate sentence to hell. And so in the church's mindset, they are doing Allison a favor, because for her taking on this position as a Sentinel, then her soul will be saved and she will not be damned to hell for these suicide attempts.
Right. Yeah. And also I think it's proven that you do actually want life, right? Because if you had been tempted by these Satanists or these, demons or whatever you want to call the people who are trying to convince her to die by suicide, she resisted them enough that she could take up this mantle and become, I guess, a figure for God and for the church.
I guess. I was just like, y'all are presuming a lot about this woman, but...
Oh, it's a fucking raw deal for this. Like, she didn't ask for this. She was just trying to live her life, maybe moving in or getting a little bit away from her boyfriend. That's all she was doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so she does ultimately take the place because it is fully furnished for $400 a month. I will say, I don't like the coverage of this apartment because I never get a good sense of how big it is. I think at one point I confused the stairs up to another apartment for actually being in the apartment. And I just was like, no, we needed to shoot this much more clearly.
I agree. Because, I mean, I was honestly a little surprised by the whole, this is a house that's rooms have been turned into apartments. And so, because each room doesn't have a kitchen. I'm assuming it's like a community kitchen for all of them.
I don't know. I don't think that would be sellable.
Yeah, I guess not. But especially, because the idea is, I guess we don't know this yet, but like the only person living in this house is the priest and Allison.
Yes, this is correct. So there is a blind, senile Father Halloran, who is played by John Carradine, although you could blink and not know it's him because all you ever see of him for everything but maybe one or two scenes is him looking out the 5th story window.
Yep. And, they're never close-ups either.
No, not until we get him at the actual climax, and then we can see a little bit more of him. But first, Trace, we have to go to work because we are a working model. So let's see a photo shoot with dogs and horses and peacocks just go off the rails. This is where we do get to see photographer Jack, who was played by Jeff Goldblum. He doesn't get anything to do, so don't get excited, folks.
Yeah, he'll show up, take pictures, and leave for 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah, so this is just confirmation that Allison has a job. She's pretty good at it. As she gets increasingly polluted by what the fuck is going on with her, she will become less adept at working. But for now, she's solid.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay. So we're moving into this brownstone. Our friend Jenny brings her a flower as a housewarming present, but then she leaves before the first of many unusual neighbors appears. So the first one we meet is Charles Chasen, who is played by Burgess Meredith, and yeah, he is kooky. Like, he arrives bearing both a cat and a bird, and we learn that they each have names. So Mortimer is the bird, and Jezebel is the cat.
I'm assuming Mortimer and Jezebel are probably in the book, but I could, because the only thing I know Burgess Meredith from is the Batman TV show, because he played the Penguin.
Yes. I'm not going to lie. I was like, look at this old queen. And then I look him up and Burgess Meredith is straight and was married 4 different times to women.
Yeah, he gives off Roddy McDowell vibes.
100%. Yeah. He is a big character in this movie to the point that I wish he was in it a little bit more because he only has a couple of scenes. They're good. And when he's around, he's hella entertaining. Yeah. But you do miss him when he's not around.
I think, he ostensibly serves as kind of like the leader of these legions of demons that are going to come out at the end. But then by the end of the film, like he does kind of act that way. But I don't know. I wish that the film had pushed him kind of more to the forefront and became more of an antagonist in the film, because even like before the climax, he's not really an antagonist for Allison. He's just taking her around being weird.
Yeah, he's trying to introduce her. He's trying to tempt her. That's the whole point, at least what I gathered of the book synopsis. He is much more deliberately coded as Satan in the books.
That makes sense. But I mean, again, we'll learn this later. But the whole thing is, these people that live in the apartment complex, or I'm sorry, the house with her, they are trying to get her to kill herself.
Yes, yeah, because they are all actually dead, and they are the people who are actively trying to open this gate because the house is actually a gateway to hell.
Which, I'm like, that's a great idea, but I don't think these people are doing a really good job at trying to make her kill herself.
No. If anything, it seems like they're trying to tempt her to become bad, like sinful.
Well, and the closest thing is her father, honestly, which really, it's kind of a missed opportunity to not have her father be kind of like the leader of these demons.
Yeah, or even just appear more frequently.
Yeah. I will say this, though. The one time he does appear is one of the best scenes of the movie.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay, but we're not there yet. So we go to a friend's European vacation slideshow, and it's so boring that Allison and Michael are just hanging out on a couch facing the opposite way from the slides. I quite like this.
I'm so glad you told me what that was, because I was sitting there, I watched this movie twice, and like I was watching the scene, and I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, I thought it was like some educational seminar.
No, this is very much the old-fashioned equivalent of, I took 700 pictures on my phone and let me just scroll through each of them. Here's 12 different shots of the Statue of David or something.
But it's like before the days of Facebook or Instagram where, you just trust people are going to go look at your stuff. No, you invite them over to sit them down and make them look at your entire slideshow of photos.
Exactly. Next slide. Yeah. So they don't care about this. They're basically back to their relationship, hey, should we make out? No, probably not. But also, hey, do you want to get married? No, not really.
Same old story.
Yeah, so this is where we get the next little expository tidbit, though. So he says, why won't you just marry me? And she says, it's only been 2 years since Karen. So that's our next. Wait, who's Karen? What's 2 years ago?
Yeah, and I think when I heard this, I was like, okay, well, it's probably like, okay,
it's an ex, right?
It's an ex, but I'm sure that that Allison was the mistress during the marriage.
That's
so
what I think we're supposed to believe.
Well, and I think truthfully that is actually what happened. He just, we were missing the part where she died.
Yes, we find that out in a bit. Okay, so Allison goes back to her new place and Michael accompanies her because he wants to see the space that she's basically ditched him for. And there's a picture of Charles on the mantle, like a framed picture of Charles Chasen in her unit. Yeah. And he's like, what's up with this old dude? It's so weird. And he's also curious because she's taken to wearing the necklace because she found it in an old jewelry box when she was back home for the funeral.
Yeah, and he'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know you were Catholic." And her response, which I love, is, "Does it matter?" But again, like, this is something where it's like, her faith journey is not. I mean, we do get it a bit when she'll go to the church and like ask for forgiveness, and she talks to who we'll learn is Franchino, but like. Again, I feel like there's another movie where it's like her personal faith journey is kind of the center of the film.
Yes.
And we're missing that from this.
We are. Yeah. This film has a lot of spokes and a lot of different fires, and sometimes it doesn't feel fully satisfying because we don't pursue any of them quite aggressively enough. They could all almost stand alone as their own individual film, but we're doing it a little bit piecemeal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. It sometimes makes you think, oh, well, what could this movie have been if her journey with faith was actually a defining thing? Because we are talking about hell and we are talking about the church. So it would make natural sense.
Yeah. Which is why I find the scene in the church with her and Franchino, again, one of the better scenes because we're actually having a conversation.
Yeah, and we're not cutting away after 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so she goes to grab groceries, and when she deposits them, she decides she's going to go visit the other neighbors that she has heard about. So this is our introduction to lesbian ballerinas Gerda, who is played by Sylvia Miles, as well as mute Sandra, who is played by Beverly D'Angelo. And it's not a big scene, but it is super memorable. Trace, this is the number one reason why I knew we would cover it, because these two, we're not even beating around the bush.
Someone's beating around the bush in this scene.
Someone's beating not around it, fully in it. That would be Sandra.
Beating over the bush.
Yeah. But like, these two are characters. There's a lot of really big characters who don't get quite enough to do in this movie. But like, these two are wild because Gerda, I mean, she's got this thick accent and it's very, slightly older lesbian with hot young lesbian. And she's like, would you like some coffee or some tea? And then meanwhile, Sandra's sitting on the couch there, basically just staring at Allison. And the minute that Gerda gets up to get the drinks, she just starts masturbating and looking at Allison and getting herself off. And Allison doesn't know where to look. But she doesn't get up and leave, and she doesn't say anything either.
I just wrote, like, Allison tries to look away. Like, there's that moment where she's kind of like, oh, okay, let me just not look at this. But, like, she doesn't do anything. And granted, like, I mean, what because Beverly D'Angelo is basically Louis C.K.ing her right now. And
100%. Yeah, like, look at me while I get myself off, and I'm not actually trying to do anything with you. I'm just using your discomfort to hit climax.
Now, what I love, though, is that when Allison describes this event later to Miss Logan, she goes, oh, and those women really carry things a little bit too far. And it's like, what?
But also, like, later on when she's showing Michael around, she says, and that's where the lesbians live.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, girl.
Also, the weird touch where Sandra smells her hands after she climaxes. But again, it's over her tights. So it's like, but I guess maybe, her vaginal secretions came out of the tights. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Vaginal secretions.
It's just, it's kind of unexpected, right? Like when she first starts touching herself, you're thinking maybe she's just adjusting. Like if this was a man, you would think, oh, he like sat on his boner or something and he's just like moving it around or something.
Right. Yeah.
But here it's very deliberate. Like, no, she's fully masturbating in front of this stranger she met 2 seconds ago.
Now, because I think this is actually D'Angelo's first film ever, she asked Winter, is this going to be tastefully done? And he looked at her and goes, you're the one masturbating. Can you make it tasteful?
I would argue the answer is yes, because there's no nudity to this at all. So you feel Allison's discomfort for sure. But if anything, you're kind of just marveling at, wait, are we doing this? Are we seeing what we're seeing right now?
We are.
It's pretty brief. So like you understand it enough to get the gist, and then we just move on. But yeah, it is wild. And a lot of people have taken this as a symptom of just how frigid Allison is. Like this is part of the temptation, because reading those comments in a couple of different reviews made me realize, oh, we don't ever see Allison and Michael have sex. Like we barely see them kiss.
I mean, that's the thing. I was going to say they don't really have any chemistry, but they're not really given an opportunity to have much chemistry.
But I think for the purposes of the film, that's symptomatic of why we don't want to get married, why she doesn't want to live with him anymore. Like they actually just aren't a good couple.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, they should have broken up, and they will.
Yeah, well, the hard way. So Allison eventually flees from this apartment, and then we see her at another photo shoot, but she is struggling. So she's flubbing this. Basically, she has to take a glass of wine and then put the bottle down and have the logo facing out for the camera, because that's what we're selling. And she just cannot get it right.
Dude, I was like, is there not like an X of tape that she can put this thing on? Like, no one is helping her. We go through 14 takes. We finally get it right, and then it's out of focus. And I had secondhand embarrassment for her in this scene.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable. Although I will say, people struggling to deliver a line or something on camera, we've seen it before. So part of me thought, 14 takes, it's not that big of a deal. Like you're resetting very quickly because all you have to do is fill that bottle back up. But we should note that the very unsympathetic director is played by future Law and Order alum Jerry Orbach, which means nothing to you, but to people who know the show will be like, oh, wow, okay. And this all happens before Allison takes a full header into a pane of glass, and his more or less big line from the sequence, the director he goes, that's just what I needed. Jesus Christ. I'm like, a woman just passed out on your set. Where's health and safety? So Allison goes to, well, she doesn't really go to the doctor, but we do know that she ends up getting new pills. So she is being accompanied by Jenny. So there's this like aborted plotline. It seems like it's going to be very important, and then it doesn't become important, where she doesn't have a phone installed at home. Yeah. And she even asks Chasen if he has one, and he says, no, who would I need to call? And so here she's calling Michael from a payphone, and you think, oh, this phone thing is going to be really important later. No. And it comes to nothing.
Well, I also think the Jenny character, like this seems like a character who's ripe for a murder in this movie. Right. And again, she just disappears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, she's got a party that she needs to host or something. Yeah, okay, so Michael is away. That's part of the reason why Jenny is here, because he is unavailable to take care of Allison. So she just goes home, and this is when Charles shows up to collect her. He blindfolds her. Once again, a fun little camera thing. When she gets blindfolded, we are blindfolded. So the screen just goes black for a little bit, and then we open up in his apartment, and this is a birthday party for Jezebel the cat, featuring several people who live in the building as well as new people, Trace.
And again, this feels very Rosemary's Baby.
100%, yeah. So we have an old lady, Mrs. Clark, who is played by Kate Harrington. We have twins, Emma and Lillian, who are played by Elaine Shore and Jane Hoffman. And then we have former residents, Malcolm and his wife, Rebecca, who are played by Gary Allen and Tressa Hughes. And it's kind of rapid fire introductions. The party seems kind of fun. We do have a birthday hat on this cat.
Yeah, we're dancing to the polka, like no one's
we
naked.
have a little cake.
Yeah.
And then it's just over because everything in this movie happens very, very quickly. So it's like party, people. Is any of this going to be important? Who knows? The scene is over.
Well, and it seems like from this point on, because, Allison did say, I think Mr. Chasen's cute to Michael early in the film. But it seems like from this point forward, she's very much like, he's really weird. And nothing in this cat birthday party seemed that weird to me.
It's not that weird. It's unusual, but also if you've known any pet owner who is a little too enthusiastic about their pet, this is not that unexpected.
No, not at all.
Like, people buy Halloween costumes for their pets. People have, Christmas photos with their pets. This is a cat birthday. Sure.
Yeah,
it's not that weird.
Why not? I mean, maybe it's weird because it's a bunch of old people, but even then I'm like, well, not really. It's a cat, so.
And it's all people who lived in the building. So you just think, oh, well, they probably knew the fucking cat because every time he goes around, he brings it with him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, none of this seemed that bizarre to us. Maybe in 1977 it was. Who knows? But then we go from this immediately to Allison having a very lurid blue filtered nightmare. So we revisit the party, only this time half of the people are nude and there seems to be sexual verging on pornographic implications.
Okay, maybe I'll eat my words, because maybe that's the idea, is the implications that these things actually did happen, but she's just thinking they're a dream, so...
It could go either way, right? Like, is the dream reality, or is she just confused about, I dreamt it, and therefore I have a weird feeling about him now?
Well, because I also think, missed opportunity, but it's you have all these people that look, quote-unquote, normal. They look like regular living people. If it's a thing where it's once she realizes she's the Sentinel, her glasses come off, her metaphorical glasses come off, and she sees them for what they really are, and they're these grotesque demonic figures.
Right. Yeah. Which we don't really do until the end. But even then, the characters that we see here who do come back still look relatively normal.
Yeah. Unless they're, eating Chris Sarandon's brains.
Sure. But they don't look necrotic or anything like that. So.
No, they're just naked.
They're just naked, as we do. Yeah. Okay, so she wakes up from this nightmare and she's properly uncomfortable, a little freaked out. But then there's also these clanging noises above her in the empty apartment to the extent that the chandelier above the bed is swinging.
Yeah, and oops, no one's supposed to be up there.
No one's supposed to be up there. So Allison calls up the realtor, Miss Logan, and basically complains about everybody. Oh, he's so weird. Oh, they're lesbians. And Miss Logan just stops her in the middle of this crowded coffee shop. I wrote in my notes, this is the first big what the fuck mystery, because Miss Logan just says, what are you talking about? It's just you and the priests on the 5th floor. Nobody else has lived there for 3 years.
So, I loved this reveal because I did not see this coming. I was like,
no,
that's great.
I don't think you could.
But again, Miss Logan is in cahoots with the Vatican, the Archdiocese, whatever. Mm-hmm. This is mean.
We almost need a dialogue that said they had to get her to the point where, she was going to be tested and then we would see what happens. But this is your champion. This is the person that you have selected to inherit the mantle of the Sentinel, and you're just going to gaslight her until the very end.
Well, and that's the thing. It's I get it. You can't just walk up to her and say, hey, by the way, you're about to be sentenced to a life of just sitting in this room for the rest of your life until someone takes your spot.
You're basically Claire from Black Christmas, where you're just going to sit up in the attic for the rest of all time.
Yeah. Also, not even looking at the gate of hell. You're just looking out the window.
I mean, I guess you get a nice view of the water.
But if these things escape the gates of hell, what the fuck are you going to do?
Well, the idea is that as long as you are there, I think part of what it is that the timing is such that if they can convince the new Sentinel to kill themselves before they take it over, that's when the gates will open.
That makes... I get it.
It's also not explained very clearly in the film.
It's very vague. It's very vague.
Yeah, I got most of this from the book synopsis more so than the film.
But still, it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I mean, and you know what? I can be lenient with things like this. I'm going to say supernatural, even though this is like religious and,
sure, but a little more clarity about the rules. Like, I think there's a difference between how does this work versus, the logistics don't make sense. Like, how does she actually become a Sentinel and why does she go blind immediately? I don't need to know that, but I do kind of need to know about, all right, who are the players? What's at stake? How are we doing this? Yeah. But part of this is that the film is a reveal. It's a twist, right? Mm-hmm. So we're deliberately withholding all of this from Allison and by proxy, us, the audience.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so keeping up this ruse, we've got Miss Logan touring around and showing her and saying like, no, look, dear, there's nothing but cobwebs in all these other apartments. Nobody's been here. So... hard cut as we enter, I'm going to say maybe Act 2 or part of Act 2, because this just like, okay, suddenly we're going to follow Michael for a large chunk of time as if he is the other protagonist of this film, even though we all thought it was Allison up until this point.
Yep.
So no, Michael, he has hired this PI named Jim Brenner, who is played by Hank Garrett, and he's investigating something. So he calls him up and says like, hey, start looking into this. And that's as much as we get for now.
Well, and this is meant to be the whole, like, this is probably... Well, actually, wait, is James Brenner the guy that killed his wife, or is the guy he goes to later the guy that killed his wife?
No, the guy he goes to later is just a locksmith, but I think we're meant to start being suspicious of Michael about why does he have connections to these different people. Mm-hmm. But for me, at this point in the film, I just think, Michael is a powerful lawyer who hires somebody because he is worried about his girlfriend who seems to be slowly losing her mind.
I will give the character of Michael this, even though I don't find him that interesting. I do like that he never really goes into the, Allison, you're crazy. Like, we got to get you a shrink. Like, he believes her for most of this movie, actually.
Yeah, he doesn't tell her what he's doing, so he doesn't keep her in the loop. But yeah, he never tries to institutionalize her. He doesn't say you need therapy. You're going crazy. So
I just thought that's the bar. Like, yeah, he didn't try to institutionalize her. Great boyfriend.
You know what? Sometimes the bar is really low, especially for the New York dating scene.
Yeah.
Okay, so that night, Allison is once again awoken in the middle of the night by this clanging. It's 3:30 a.m. So what is a girl to do, Trace? Grab that flashlight, grab a knife, and let's go investigating in, it's not a lingerie, but it's a negligee. So...
this is probably the most like horror movie-esque scene of the film. Like even like down to like a slasher almost.
It's okay. It's funny that you say that because I can't disagree, especially where we end up. Because yeah, we're going to run into the ghost of dad and we're going to hack his fucking face up and get covered in blood. But it also feels like gothic horror, right? It's a lady in a white nightgown going around a creepy old house with lots of cobwebs and discovering something in the night.
Well, okay. Y'all, if you can't, I don't know how you would describe this. Like look up the Sentinel father ghost scene.
Oh my God. And you keep calling it the Sentinel. It's the Sentinel. Sentinel.
But no, because she walks into this room. It's the apartment above her, and the door is like it's dark. You can't really see a lot of stuff. But what I love, so she's standing in the doorway, and then the door up against the wall is pushed away, and as it moves, you see that there's a shadowy figure behind the door, and as if that weren't enough, I was like, that's really creepy. That's a really good shot. Then it just starts walking towards the camera.
Yeah. And it's her dad, but like the corpse of her dad. So we've got some good makeup. I mean, this actor was unsettling to begin with. So yeah. And she just starts slashing at him. And I think that this is almost verging on stop motion. Like when she cuts off his nose, it looks like we're missing frames. And I really like the way that this was done because the blood is very red, like not 70s red. It's not paint, but it's getting close.
Well, because these are insert shots of the close-up of his face getting hacked up. And I would argue they don't look like they belong in this movie. But
Right?
That's not even a critique. I'm just like, this feels like it's in a different movie for me.
Yeah, it's wildly out of character for everything that we have seen up to this point. I didn't think the movie was going to get violent like this.
Yeah, same. Absolute same. Now, it will never really get violent like this again. But
No, this is our big set piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, she gets covered in blood in this white nightgown, and then she just runs screaming out of the building into the street. And we get this fantastic aerial shot as all these neighbors come out and try to comfort her because, of course, she's collapsed in the middle of the street. And I really liked it.
No, I mean, this entire sequence, I do think it's the best one in the film, save for the climax. And the overhead shot, oh my God, yeah. It felt like there was real passion in the making of this sequence. And I don't always feel that in some of the other scenes in the movie.
Yeah, I'm. If nothing else, it was kind of, okay, this is the big one, folks. You know, this took a lot more time to set up. We were really deliberate with the staging. Let's get the camera and kind of give it a showstopper finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we cut to the hospital because, you know, we called the cops and we called the ambulance. So she's being treated. But Michael is being questioned by a new character, Detective Gatz, who is played by Eli Wallach. And then he has a never named partner who is apparently Rizzo, played by Christopher Walken,
who will speak twice in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, Gatz, I mean, it's not late in the film, but I think you're right. We are beyond the first act by this point. But this character, I could not care about him less.
Oh, he's awful. He doesn't make a good first impression because I do think we're meant to believe Michael or side with Michael because Allison is with him. And especially at this point in the film, we've actually started to get scenes where we're only following Michael. So he feels like our protagonist. And I'm like, okay, why is Gatz coming down so hard on Michael? So this is where we really start to connect some dots. So Detective Gatz believes that Michael's dead wife, this would be Karen, 2 years ago, she died by suicide by jumping off of a bridge, and Detective Gatz doesn't fully believe it was a suicide. Ooh. So he believes that Michael had something to do with this.
Okay. The other way you open this movie instead of that Italy shit. So you have Karen jumping off a bridge as you're cold open. And then at the end of the movie, when the reveal happens, we flash back and it's like, oh, the camera rotates and we see the hitman holding her at gunpoint, telling her to jump off the bridge.
Oh, okay. And that would be more exciting than watching some random rogue figure go into a room with a bunch of other priests.
Yeah. I mean, Italy, very pretty, but
sure,
you know.
Yeah. I do think the issue that I have with this subplot, and I don't know how much it matters, but the more I think about the movie, the less I like this, is that I don't know that it matters if Michael actually had a part to play in killing his wife until we get to the end where we have to understand, oh, he's capable of murder.
Well, no, because that's what sends him to hell. Him killing his wife is what sends him to hell once he dies. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there.
Right. But I think we could have had it that he was willing to murder Halloran.
Actually, that is true. I mean, but that's the thing. I agree with you. I'm actually in agreement with you on this, but it's a thing where it's like, I don't mind the subplot, but it feels like it's just always on the outskirts of what's actually happening with the film. And it doesn't... Like, again, it's something where I'm like, oh, well, I would want the film to dive into this a bit more. But there's so many pots that the film has put its various hands in that it's like, oh, well, here's one more thing we got to deal with.
Yeah. And because of the way that Gatz is introduced and how he's not Barney Fife-ish, but he is almost like an oaf, like, oh, wow, he's really got an axe to grind with Michael. And as I said, we kind of like Michael, at least at this point in the film. So I don't trust Gatz. I don't like Gatz. So I don't believe him when he's making these insinuations. And it doesn't make sense at this point in the film for me to think that Michael could have actually killed his ex-wife because we've never even gotten a hint of nefarious, malicious. There's nothing shady about Michael. So I'm just like, why are we doing this right now?
Yeah, I feel like the wife being dead should have been brought up earlier, outside of a whole, like, it's been 2 years since Karen thing.
Yeah, I like it as a mystery, but then the actual payoff where it's revealed, no, he really did fucking kill the first wife. Like, that's diabolique. That's a whole movie unto itself.
And maybe that's the problem, is there's so many different films crammed into this 94-minute runtime, and it's just like, oh, y'all need to pick a lane and stick with it.
A little bit. Maybe pick a couple of these and just focus on developing them a little bit more.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But again, they're all pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay, so Michael calls Brenner's useless assistant. There's little beats of comedy in this movie, not a ton. For the most part, it's relatively gaslight the movie, this poor girl, with a bit of religious sprinkles on top. But, you know, when Michael calls this PI's assistant, who was played by Diane Stillwell, she's like, "Who are you? Have you called here before? Will he know what this is about?"
Oh my
it's
God.
Like, bitch, he called you 2 days ago.
Dude, the funniest scene in this movie is when he goes to that professor to ask about the Latin.
Oh my God, and the professor doesn't remember anything. It's like he's suffering from Alzheimer's or mild dementia.
I was like, what are we doing?
What
in
are we
this
doing?
scene?
This character, but all these characters pop, right? They're all just a little bit bigger than normal. Yeah, okay. So Gatz is ordered by his superior to lay off Michael. Michael is called in a favor, and Gatz has gotten his wrist slapped. No, you cannot continue to make these allegations about this well-respected New York lawyer, so you need to stop. And at this point, this is when we discover that Miss Clark, so the old lady at Jezebel, the cat's birthday party, she's dead, Trace, and she was a convicted murderess.
She was electrocuted at Sing Sing in 1949 after killing her husband and his lover with an axe.
Very Lizzie Borden-esque.
Very Lizzie Borden. And I love that we don't decide to look into anyone else in this building once that revelation is made.
Yeah, you know, we'll get confirmation later on that all of them are dead, that they were all killers, but we don't really need to know much about their crimes other than that fact. Dead murderers. It's like a murderers club. Got it. Ryan Murphy wrote this.
I think that is the thing too, though, is because Allison, again, I do think that Raines is compelling in this movie, but she's not doing any of the investigating. Michael is doing it all for her.
Yeah, which is the split narrative, right? You know, she's embedded in this mystery, what's going on at the brownstone, and then Michael is out there in the world trying to piece it all together, like breaking into places. He's in his own PI mystery movie, and she's in the religious horror film.
Yeah, because she's got to be the Sentinel, right?
Sentinel. I can't even tell if you're doing it to gaslight me or if you're just mispronouncing it.
That time I was, but no, I've always mispronounced it. I don't know why I've always said Sentinel. I've always said Sentinel. Like it's like an accent over the E.
I'm willing to bet that somebody's going to write in and be like, no, I agree with Trace. It is Sentinel.
I mean, what were we doing? Oh my God, we were doing, what did we just cover? What did we talk about on Monday? Oh no, it's like when we were covering Predator Badlands and we kept saying, to describe all the different Predator films, Predator or Predators.
Yeah. I think you put the wrong accent on the wrong syllable. Yeah. Okay, so, hey, remember that PI? He's dead. He's dead. The John Doe that Gatz discovered. Like, again, we just follow Gatz randomly to this murder scene, and it's a body, and he says, oh, he's been stabbed a bunch of times. And then 2 scenes later, we will get the confirmation, oh, this is Brenner, the PI, and he had Michael's number, and he's got the same blood type as we discovered on Allison's nightie. And you're just like, what?
Like, there's a missing scene. Like, why don't we get to see this guy get murdered? And that's,
who killed him, Trace?
I think the church killed him. Like, I think that's the thing, but
we don't know for sure.
Well, because I guess the other implication is that, because I guess at this point we're supposed to think, oh, well, maybe Allison is insane and she's just seeing things. So she didn't actually kill her father. She killed Brenner instead. But
that's what I think. And then maybe the church covered for her because we need her to not be arrested.
Right. But the film doesn't tell us that. And also, the father is real. So
well, is he?
I think he is.
But no, because they're all spirits, right? Like, they're all people who have gone to hell, and then they've escaped from the gate so that they can pull this gaslight ruse.
Sure, but that doesn't mean they're, like, not corporeal. But because at the end, we see them also getting, like, bleeding and shit at the end of the movie, too.
Yeah, again, the rules are not clear.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Okay, so all this to say, the PI is dead. He has been taken care of. He does have the same wounds that we saw Allison administer to her father. So it's pretty clear this is who she actually killed. We don't know why he was in the apartment, but whatever, it's fine. Yeah. So this is when Gatz is really leaning in. Oh, okay, wow, it seems like Michael is attached to all of these different murders. Didn't he murder his first wife? So...
Well, and Michael makes I'm going to say a really big mistake, because Gatz will come up to him, show him a picture of Brenner, and Michael's like, I never saw him before.
I don't know who that is. It's like, bitch, you're in the Rolodex. Maybe that's why Michael didn't leave a message with this idiot assistant of Brenner's.
Well, but... it's because it would tie him to his wife's murder if that was the case. And so I get why he's doing it, but I'm like, oh, buddy, like, Gatz knows you're lying. So, oops.
Yeah, it is a rookie mistake for sure.
For some big hotshot lawyer.
Yeah. Okay, so... Allison, meanwhile, has gone for a walk. So she's left the apartment to get some fresh air, and she enters a nearby church. And this is where she meets Monsignor Franchino. And this is the scene you were talking about earlier, where we actually get some pretty good character work, but also we just let this scene breathe. So she's praying, and then he approaches her, and she talks about how she left her faith behind because she's actually been having a really fucking hard go of it. She has attempted suicide twice. She's contemplating a third time.
She's committed adultery.
Yes. Yep. And this is where the Monsignor says, well, all will be forgiven if you can find it in your heart to re-embrace Jesus. Like, let Christ back into your life and all will be forgiven.
Yeah, the Lord brought you here, the Lord will protect you. And I'm like, I'm just like, sure.
Sir, do you realize you're in a horror film right now? Because...
but, I mean, when she says, like, it makes me feel like I should take my life again. Like, I felt that from this actress. Like, that was one of the most, the biggest moments of pathos that this movie gives. Because I don't think there's a ton of pathos in this movie.
No, but you do feel for Allison because you understand that she's in the middle of something she doesn't fully understand, and that it's hard to disavow yourself from this feeling that she is such a tiny part of this much larger thing. And you feel really bad for her because she doesn't want any of this. She didn't ask for any of this. Like, she's maybe made some bad decisions. She has been pushed to the edge a number of times, but like, yeah, especially in this moment, you very much get the impression that she is despondent. And I don't know. I mean, I was surprised when you said people thought she was wooden, because you just have to look at scenes like this to prove she's not.
Honestly, I think the moment, it wasn't even when she said she wanted to kill herself again, although I do feel like that's a really good moment for her, but it's when she says out loud, like, I saw my father and I stabbed him, but my father is dead and already, and she just breaks down, and I was like, oh, girl, I just want to give you a hug.
Yeah, like she's basically making a bunch of cries for help, and it seems like people are either in mild support of her but also not fully believing her, or people are just fully like the realtor, just saying, no, I think something's wrong.
Well, because little does Allison know that Franchino he's not really gaslighting her, but he kind of is, because he doesn't work at this church.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing the soft sell of, well, you should probably think about religion before this is all over, because that's definitely going to get you into a place where I want you to be.
Yeah.
Okay, so she returns, and she was only supposed to be gone for 30 minutes, but she's been gone for 3 hours, so Michael is a little bit concerned, and he ends up accompanying her back to the brownstone, and here they discover that they're having completely different visual experiences. I wish we could have captured this in a slightly more compelling way.
Yeah.
She basically pulls a book off the shelf and she says, look, it's all the same. It's all the same Latin. And Michael just goes, what the fuck are you talking about? This is in English and it's not the same page over and over again. So he gets her to write out what she's seeing. And it's revealed that, yeah, she is seeing text in Latin. He's seeing it in English, but it's not the same text. So this sets him on a new avenue for investigating.
Yeah, so he's got to go see this professor to translate the Latin for him. Okay, so...
So this is Professor Rosinski, played by Martin Balsam, and this guy is a fucking loon. He's great. Just another great character in a film filled with them, but I wish He's here for the one scene, right?
Like, he's tutoring some girl, a girl whose name he doesn't know. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, I need to do this with you on like Thursday or whatever. He goes, no, Thursday's when I go old-timey dancing. And she goes, no, it's this. And he goes, well, when do I go old-timey dancing? And it's like, what is this?
And what is your name? He looks in his diary. Oh, yeah, you're right. You are here every fucking Thursday. Okay. Yeah, and he just calls Michael by the wrong name, but he does translate the text, and we associate it with Paradise Lost. So, okay. We should also note that by this point, Michael has figured out that the brownstone Allison lives in is owned by the church. So that is another thing that he will try to look into in a little bit more detail. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Allison goes back to the church, hoping to find the same priest, but what she discovers is a new priest who is played by Reed Shelton. He's from a very famous thing that I don't want to talk about. And this new priest basically says, I don't know who you're talking about because there is no other priest. It's me. This is my church. And she just goes, and runs away. Okay, so Michael tracks down Franchino at the diocese so that he can get more information on Father Halloran, because by this point, he's like, all right, there's only one other person living in this building. I want to talk to him, but he can't use his master keys to get in there. So he goes searching. Can you please look up Father Halloran's file? And Michael gets a bit of a look at it, but this guy Franchino will not let him see the full thing, will not make a copy for him, basically tells him to get lost.
Well, because as soon as he shows him the Latin, he's like, nope, never seen that before, go away. And
I definitely don't know what you're talking about. You definitely need to leave. Goodbye.
I know you said it's in Paradise Lost, but just what the Latin actually says, it's to thee thy course by lot. Jesus. To thee...
Come on, put some emotion into it. Yeah. Let's hear it.
To thee thy course by lot is given charge, and strict watch that to this happy place no evil thing approach or enter in.
There we go. See, that almost feels like some kind of, we just talked about the skeleton key. We were talking about the Conjuring early. That feels like the kind of thing where we've already heard people in the movie chant that. That's what the priests were doing in northern Italy at the beginning of the film. But that feels like the kind of thing where I expected Allison to be lighting a candle, pouring some brick dust at a door, and saying that against a horde of demons or something by the end of the film.
That's the thing. Like, Allison doesn't figure any of this out herself.
No.
And I do think that's a big problem the film has, is that, but maybe it's by design, to strip any sense of agency away from this woman, because she really has no agency.
She has none. No. And maybe this lends credence to the idea that Michael does not have her best interests at heart, and he's a killer and an adulterer and all these other things. Not to suggest that those are one and the same.
Yeah.
But maybe this is also symptomatic of, okay, well, that's why he's not confiding in her, because he's happy to lead this investigation and try to save her, but he also doesn't trust her enough to tell her what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, he depends on her reliance on him.
Yeah, but also, why the fuck won't Franchino just say, oh yeah, we're actually grooming her. We're preparing her for this religious role that she needs to take on. Like, why do we need to keep her in the dark? Why do we need to keep Michael in the dark?
We have to keep her in the dark up until literally like the 11th hour, where it's like, hey, it's if you grab the crucifix, this all works. If you don't, these demons get out. You don't
you want to tell the person, hey, you're going to be tested. You need to pass. You need to bring Jesus back into your life. For something.
Truthfully, the fact that we don't have a conversation where this priest confronts her and she's like, I don't want to do this. And he's like, well, just so you know, your soul will be eternally damned to hell because of your suicide attempts unless you do this. Yeah. So you have to like hike up your skirt and like, take the stand. And because of her devotion to the faith and how she's getting back into faith, she's like, okay, you know what? I will make this sacrifice. Like that should be in this movie. And it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, and it does unfortunately feel like none of that happens because we need to keep the audience in the dark as much as Allison, but it does make it frustrating in hindsight. I think on a first watch, it's surprising because you really don't know where the end of the movie is going to take us, but it only works the one time. Like, I don't think this movie has huge rewatchability because I'm going to sit there going, why the fuck won't you just tell her?
Yeah, I agree. No, it's good for a first watch because you don't know where it's going. And truthfully, I don't think anyone will be able to know exactly where this is going.
No,
and that's what I liked
had no
about it.
fucking clue. I was sitting there watching, being like, what is happening in this movie? Where is this going?
Mm-hmm. But you're right. Like it's so like built around the twist that that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Okay. So Allison has another spell. So by the time Michael gets home, Jenny is there because Allison passed out again, so she's not doing okay. And Michael realizes that something else is going on, but he still needs to investigate more. So he asks Jenny to stay with Allison. He's going to go look into the church a little bit more. So we get our old locksmithing friend. I don't even have a character name for this guy. He's just shady motherfucker in my notes.
Yeah.
So we go back to Francino's office so that we can look at the records that he clearly didn't want to show us. So we start researching files. What we discover is a pattern wherein people who once tried to die by suicide have become priests and nuns. Like ordinary people are suddenly members of the church. And this includes Halloran. And as you said at the top of the episode, it will also come to include Allison, who will be renamed Sister Teresa tomorrow. And it's like, oh shit, this is a religious conspiracy.
Yes.
So I do think at this point in the film, we're very much not meant to trust the church.
No, but the thing is, though, with the way the movie ends, it's like, well, they are the good guys.
They are the good guys. Yeah. So Michael dumps his girlfriend at Jennifer's party because she's hosting a party, and she's like, hey, you guys should come. And he's like, cool, can I ditch my girlfriend there while I continue doing investigations? And, just because this movie likes to randomly insert things and then cut away from them immediately, we do also get a quick moment with the robed figure blessing Francino and saying, God be with you this night. So we know shit's about to go down. So, we're also not done with the fucking police, Trace, even though I would argue at this point they've sort of outlived their usefulness in terms of narrative purpose. But yeah, so we cut back to the precinct, and this is where we get the confirmation from Gatz and Rizzo that all of the party goers that Allison identified, they're all dead. They were all murderers, so...
Okay, but again, the comedy. So someone tells Gatz, well, she went to a party with 8 dead murderers, and his reply, doesn't everybody?
What?
Okay.
Sir, explain your nightlife to me. What are you up to after dark?
I think it's meant to be a joke. I don't know.
He's so dry. But, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the last we will see of these characters, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because Michael's going to die very shortly, so...
Yeah, but we don't even end the film with the police showing up and, some moment where Gatz goes, he got what was coming to him, or, where's his girlfriend? What happened to his girlfriend? No.
Well, because that's the other thing. She's the girlfriend that's still living in the same house, and that...
Well, where does she go in between the demolition of this brownstone and then the erection of the new condo?
She's getting assumpted, like the Assumption of Mary, where her body goes up to heaven and then she gets dropped back down.
Oh, Jesus, God. And here I thought, she probably just gets sent to Northern Italy for a relaxing vacation until we, set her up in her attic chair and so on.
That's the one thing I always remember from my Catholic school was it was a big deal because Mary is the only human being whose body was also brought up to heaven.
Wow.
Not just her soul. I know.
Huge if true.
Yep. Yes, that huge if true. That was really good.
Lord. Okay. So, meanwhile, we've got an exhausted Allison fainting at this party. I joked off the top that it's kind of hilarious how many times she eats shit in this movie, but seeing her go into the pane of glass at the gig, the photography gig, was pretty amusing. But this one, she just fully face plants on some guy's lap at this party. Yeah. And he's like, oh, that's not good.
And that's really all she's going to be doing for the rest of this movie is falling over and screaming.
And walking around in a very dazed stupor. I do want to give credit, though, when she walks into this party. So Michael is there with her, and then almost immediately he says, oh, Jenny, I got to go. So, look after her. Don't let anything happen to her, especially around midnight, because we know tomorrow all this shit is about to go down.
Right.
But when Allison walks into this party, the bags under her eyes, she is so exhausted. It's pretty fucking good.
does someone tell her in this movie, you look very tired? And she's kind of like, yeah.
Maybe. I might have missed it.
Maybe it was something else I watched this week. I don't know. I've watched a lot of things this week.
There we go. Yeah. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you
tired.
look exhausted.
Yeah, I probably do. I do have black circles under my eyes, so.
I mean, who among us does
Who doesn't?
Okay, so she is passed out, but then, Jenny basically puts her into the bedroom, and then when she goes to check on her again, Allison has wandered off. So everyone is congregating back on the brownstone. That's where Allison is headed. That's where Michael is already. So he discovers, he basically just like rips down this thing in the lobby and discovers this quote to Paradise Lost. So, oh my God, this building is the fucking gate to hell.
Yeah, the second he says, abandon all hope, ye who enter here, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we're at the gates of hell. Which again, really cool idea.
Yeah. Okay, so riddle me this. This is where we get our first really good look of Halloran, because he is just down here and Michael loses his shit on this old man who is very blind and very... I mean, he looks caked in white makeup, dust or something. So he's supposed to be very old looking, but Halloran will not respond to him, and Michael just keeps demanding, what the fuck is going on? Tell me, what do you know? Why won't you say anything?
He does say, like, after Michael reads his quote, I think it's a jump scare, honestly. I think it's a jump scare by cut, with an edit, but he just goes, the entrance to hell!
Yeah. You're like, yeah, no, we got it, I guess. But then Halloran just doesn't, like, what? You came down the 5 flights of stairs to say this and then go back up?
Because I read this, too, apparently in the book. I mean, because we're about to get there, but like, it's not Franchino. I don't know if Franchino's a character in the book, actually. I think Halloran does a lot of the stuff Franchino does, because Halloran is the one that kills Michael when he comes to kill him.
Right, yeah, because this is a death that will happen off screen. So essentially, Michael threatens to kill Halloran if he doesn't tell him what's going on. And we see Michael start to strangle him with his hands up in the attic. Man. And then we just cut away from it.
Okay, so yeah, the way it's shot is we see there's a statue of Mary and a statue of someone else, like a little tabletop statue. And a figure grabs one of these statues, and we are led to believe like bludgeons Michael with it.
Right.
If you watch the scene, though, so we have, Chris Sarandon like strangling John Carradine. And the camera pans to the side to look at these statues. But if you keep looking at Sarandon when the camera is panning to the left, it looks like he is just shaking a dummy very lightly and not actually strangling this man. It's such bad strangulation acting. I laughed.
Not convincing.
Not at all.
Okay. All right, so Allison arrives in the lobby, and this is where she discovers Michael's bloody cufflinks. So she brought him a gift back when she returned from the funeral, and they were monogrammed cufflinks for him, and she finds them here, and they're bloody. So, it's bad news. She ends up going back up into her old apartment, and she initially locks the front door, but then she hears sounds, and then she can't get out the back door. Again, the geography of this apartment made no sense to me, so I was just like, I think she went in here to seek safety, but now she's trapped in here, and I don't understand how any of it worked. Anyway, she hides out in the armoire, and then it opens, and it's Michael. And I will say, I think that Chris Sarandon does a very good job of telegraphing this is not the right Michael. He looks like him, but he's acting very stiffly, very coldly, and so on.
Okay, I will say, so yeah, this is the exposition dump where he tells her everything that we've kind of pieced together by this point.
Yeah, but this is where we're name dropping Sentinel.
Yes, we are. Yeah, I know this. The people you saw here, the lesbians, all of them, they're devils. I'm like, okay, the lesbians.
Okay, actually, can we pause for a moment? Because I realize that we haven't really unpacked, obviously, queer horror podcast, lesbians in this film. It's not a huge part, but when we discover, all of the other residents here, they've been here to tempt you. They're trying to get you to die by suicide, including lesbians. Part of me was like, is this quintessential depiction of homosexuality in a 70s horror film where these women are just deviant sexual beings who also have very nefarious intentions towards this young girl.
So I thought about this too when I was watching this, and I think that's why it's actually important for me, at least, that we establish, these are also all killers. And granted, we describe them as the lesbians, not the lesbian killers or all the killers.
The lesbians.
Yeah, it's always the lesbians. But if they were quote unquote just lesbians and not killers, I'd be really a lot more irked by this because
so murderers trump lesbians is what you're saying.
Well, just because, I get it, like being gay is a sin. So in the world of this film where like the church is kind of like the good guy, like it makes sense that if they're just lesbians, they're going to be in hell anyway. But for me, I'm giving the film a bit of leeway and saying, well, they're lesbians that... they're killers that happen to be lesbians. Exactly. That's what now, granted, because I didn't get the idea from Winter that he was any kind of homophobe when listening to his interviews for this movie.
Well, and apparently the book. So people have alternately described the book as pretty homophobic, or the second book is worse, which I will tell you about in a moment.
I'm really excited to hear about that. But yeah, I thought that was fine. But I will say that I really, really, really liked Sarandon's delivery. So he ends his monologue where he goes, for having Brenner murder my wife, I am one of the Legion.
Yeah, so this is the confirmation. He is a bad guy, so it's not just, I was stepping out on Karen and then she died by suicide by throwing herself off the bridge. It was, I wanted to be with you, Allison, so I got rid of my wife.
Yeah.
In less words than that, but this is wild. This is a huge bombshell to drop on this movie, and Allison does not process it. She has no time to process it, but the movie also doesn't pause to even give it a bit of gravitas. Like, this is huge. Our romantic love interest, the person we thought was being framed as a co-lead of this movie, fully fucking killed his wife using that PI guy, and you're like, I guess it makes sense. That's why he's got all these shady connections, like the locksmith guy.
Right. But they all seem like afterthoughts, right?
100%. It's like, it's just not well executed.
I fully agree. To where I was like, okay, I get it. I put all the pieces together, but it feels like there's many pieces missing in the build up to this and the lead up to this.
Scenes missing, beats missing.
And I do think also a problem I have with the climax, which again, I think the climax is it's very strong, but I think we're missing I think there is a ticking clock element to this climax, but I'm not clear of what it is.
We need that countdown to midnight, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've got to get her to do this. Like, you've got to get her to kill herself in the next 2 minutes, or like you hear the gong of a clock or something.
Right? Oh my God, yeah, it's like Cinderella. Like before the clock strokes 12. So you have to get through the 12 chimes. Oh, yes. See, again, add some tension to this thing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we've been praising this climax, so let's get to it. So basically, the Sentinels are the people who protect the gate to hell. She's the next one unless she is driven to die by suicide by these ghosts. So this is their aim. And we understand that Michael is now one of them. So she flees. And this is when we have Charles Chasen return. So, hi, Burgess Meredith. We've missed you. You've not been on screen for quite some time, but he is back with a vengeance in this moment. So he has this cacophony of, disabled characters. This feels very indebted to something like Freaks from 1932.
I wrote in my notes, then Allison finds some freaks from Freaks.
Yeah, because it's a bunch of people who present unusual for the camera for the purposes of scaring her. So I don't love the fact that we're using, disabled at birth people for this purpose, but like if we can take the film just as what it's trying to do, this woman is suddenly being confronted by a bunch of people who look very different from her own lived experience, and they are moving towards her in a threatening manner.
And again, this is not makeup. These are all people with these bodily conditions. And I mean, I think it's really effective. There is that method of like, okay, but you're casting these people that look like this in this movie because they quote unquote look scary to scare people. And I don't love that.
Don't love it.
But then even hearing Winter talking about it, where he was like, oh my God, these are the nicest people I've ever met in my life. They were so happy to come and work on the film, and they were really polite, and it's like, job's a job, I guess.
They're looking for acting opportunities. I mean, and you also understand it's a horror film, right? Like, so you're being cast in this, you're agreeing to it, you're eager for the work, and I think it is a really, really effective sequence. Like, watching these people effectively chase chase her up the stairs into Halloran's now empty apartment with the single candle lit, and you understand time is running out. It's all really good stuff. It's just, removed from the film. If we look at the optics of it, it's like, that's kind of gross.
Yeah. But I mean, yes. And there's a good moment where she runs into her father who grabs her hair. I think this could have been protracted a little bit longer. Like
drag it out like you're trying to drag her hair.
Well, I guess, to me, like her father should be kind of like the big bad of this Legion. And I'm just like, why aren't we using that more? But
well, either that or it feels like the film is very trepidatious about who to give the spotlight to, because is it her dad? No. Is it Chasen? Kind of, but also not.
Is it Michael?
And then we get up, and then we get to the top, right? And all of a sudden now Michael is holding this fucking cat and he's front and center. But then we've got Chasen giving Allison this knife and calling her my love and saying things like friendships can blossom into bliss as we're seeing Michael holding the cat. So this idea that if she kills herself, she can now be with Michael and you weren't really great together as a couple in real life, but that could turn into something in the afterlife.
But I think that's actually a mistake. So I think to make this really land, this film had to make Allison and Michael seem like the perfect couple, or at least like a healthy, happy couple. And because they never
this
really
is Chasen misreading the situation. Like, oh, dude, no, don't promise her the guy that she's had wishy-washy feelings for the entire movie.
But I guess I just love that idea, where it's like, oh my God, like if you can live with the love of your life, except it's going to be in hell because he murdered his first wife.
Yeah.
There is a bit of a Sophie's choice there that I'm like, okay, like that is interesting, but the movie doesn't want to play with that at all.
No, it doesn't want to up the stakes. Like, did you ever for a moment fear that Allison would make the wrong choice?
No, not at all. No, not once.
But I will say, watching Halloran come through this crowd bearing an enormous crucifix as Chasen just keeps going, resist, stop him. And all of these people are grabbing at Halloran, trying to prevent him from making his way through the crowd. It kind of feels epic in scope. And then he just presses the crucifix to Allison and she clutches it to her chest. And you understand, it's her embracing Jesus. It's her embracing Christ. And they have won.
But, okay. But I wish we actually got more makeup effects, because we get this great shot of Chris Sarandon as the skin on his face starts cracking and blood starts pouring out of it.
The cracks were delicious.
It was so cool, but then we don't really get... we have another guy that gets like a little bit of blood coming down of his neck, I think, but I was like, cool, are they gonna all like explode or something? Like, what's gonna happen? And nothing really happens.
It was so confusing, because it almost feels like Chasen is disappointed that Michael didn't work as bait to lure Allison into accepting their side. So he throws the knife at Michael and he gets stabbed, and that's why Michael starts to bleed. And then the other people start to bleed as if they were all connected, or maybe, we didn't win, so we're all starting to disintegrate. And then they just recede and kind of draw out of the room. But I couldn't figure out, why are some bleeding and not others? Should they all have been bleeding? Should none of them have been bleeding? It didn't feel consistent.
Yeah. Maybe it was just too much pandemonium while filming all of this. Too many people at once. I don't know.
But I mean, folks, I don't think we're selling this climax as exciting enough, like, especially after some relatively sedate parts of this film. Like, it's been interesting to watch, but it hasn't been the most exciting movie. And then you get to this, and it's so genuinely unexpected that she's going to be confronted by this horde of people. And then, we're going to get this big choice with the giant crucifix and knives and cats. And it's all quite good.
Yeah. And then it's over before you know it.
Then it's over, yes, because as soon as they recede, they just leave her. So she's by herself in the window. And then out of nowhere, we make a hard cut to a giant wrecking ball taking out the side of this brownstone. I don't think that this is cut well, because I don't think you understand what is going on. I was like, is she still in there?
Yeah.
What happened? When is this?
There's not even like a 5 years later title card on this. It's just like the passage of time is not clear.
No. So basically what ends up happening is we see partial destruction of this brownstone. And then all of a sudden, Miss Logan is pulling up in a car with a new couple. And you understand, oh, the building has been torn down and we have built up a new, very modern, contemporary looking condo building. So she is showing this off to a new couple who are played by Nana Tucker and Tom Berenger.
Okay, but
also hot.
But here's the
question.
This couple
is hot.
I agree with you. But here's the thing. So to me, because the Catholic Church, I'm assuming, doesn't want anyone else living in this building except for the current Sentinel and the future Sentinel. Which means that, so this couple is being shown in here because one of them is going to be the next Sentinel, which means that Allison has already served her time doing this. So again, I ask you, how much...
So you would say, oh, there's been a significant time gap. Yeah, so maybe all of these religious people, that's part of the deal, is you get to stay alive forever so that you can get the next Sentinel ready.
I guess. Also sounds like a raw deal, but whatever.
I mean, yeah. And like, what are you doing the rest of the time? Does Miss Logan actually have to work?
Or does she only show people this one property?
Because when we go for coffee with her earlier in the film, you know, I think Allison even says, oh, how's business or how's rentals? And Miss Logan says, I've shown so many houses this week.
Yeah, maybe she works for all religions.
Maybe. Anyway, so yes, Ms. Logan is showing this new couple around. They seem amenable to the place and they say, oh, does anybody else live in the building? Sure, there's a recluse in 5A. It's a nun. And we see that this is now Allison and the skin is just like Halloran's and she is blind and she's looking out the window to the river. The end.
And the credits roll. And I will say, too, because Winner talks all the way through the end of the credits, because the credits are 30 seconds long. Mm-hmm. And he makes a comment saying, see, if this was a movie coming out today, we'd be sitting here for 10 minutes watching these credits.
Funny. Okay. Let me tell you about this sequel.
Oh my God. Yes. Tell me.
Okay, so the sequel comes out in 1979, and it is called The Guardian. And I thought, oh, did we adapt it? Because there's a horror film called The Guardian, but no, it's not the sexy tree lady horror movie.
Okay,
so in this book, it confirms that the Sentinels always pass back and forth between priests and nuns. So if you are led to believe the events of this movie and the first book end, it is that this new couple, we should be grooming the husband.
Right.
But in the world of the book, I don't know if it's meant to be 1-to-1, but in the world of the book, it's a new couple who has moved into this, modern condo building. We spend a ton of time just talking about the condo building. And this new couple in the book, the new protagonists are Faye and Ben Burdett, and they have an adopted son. And you're sort of trying to figure out, okay, who are they going after? And it's eventually revealed to be the wife. And the twist of the book. So we spend a bunch of time in the Vatican with the church. Some people say it's exciting. Other people say not. But by the time you get to the end of the book, it's revealed that Charles Chasen is in this as well. He's very much coded as Satan. And it's revealed in the twist at the end of this book that the reason he has targeted them, Trace, remember how I said some people find that the second book or the sequel is more homophobic?
Uh-huh.
It's because Faye is a transgender woman. So it's not that she has tried to die by suicide. Her sin is that she is trans. So part of me is like, well, I'm really fucking glad that we never got that sequel in film form because that would not have landed well.
Now I actually want a remake of this, and then I want an adaptation of that sequel with still a trans character, but differently, if that makes any sense, where it's not the fact that she's trans that she's being targeted, it's some other reason. She just happens to be trans.
I would love her to be trans and maybe being targeted for that, and her being like, how about I burn down the church as well as Jason?
Actually, I like
you.
I like
fuck
your
you
idea
both.
more. Oh my God. And then she just lets the minions of hell out on she looses them out on Earth.
Right. You thought I was going to be a pawn in all this? How about I just walk away?
I mean, I think think about that a lot too when it comes to that, where it's like, I mean, obviously, hell is like this horrible, horrible place, whatever. It's fire or it's ice if you're watching Black Phone 2. And but it's like, yeah, what if you have a queer person who feels so rejected by the church that they say, fuck it, then I'm just going to go to hell, or I'm going to let hell out because it's better than living with the church. And I think that's again, really fascinating concept.
I mean, you're essentially talking, not exactly, but you're kind of talking about the end of Cabin in the Woods, right? Where it's, I refuse to play with your stupid, antiquated rules because this is not, I shouldn't have to make this kind of sacrifice for other people because I am a human fucking being.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, you know what? Let's just make the Guardian. Let's just do that. And we'll fix it.
It does sound interesting. Like, I could not get a handle on whether people thought it was a better book than the first one or if it was worse. Looking through the reviews, it did make me want to read both books. I will say that.
Yeah. I mean, well, at least they're short, probably. So,
I mean, as you said, they're probably both under 300 pages.
Well, okay. I mean, you know what? Cool. That's interesting. I'm intrigued. And with this movie, I would say watch it. Honestly, I recommend it, but with the full caveat, like, I don't think it's particularly good.
Yeah, it was worth the watch, but I'm not rushing out to tell people that it's a new classic that they haven't seen. Like, I did see a bunch of people reviewed this really, really negatively. Like, it does not make any sense. It's actually not well made. Yeah, if the acting doesn't connect with you, I think this would be a bit of a slog, but I thought it was a weird, unusual little film. I don't think it fully works, but I'm happy we covered it. I'm happy we watched it.
I am too. So, years in the making, we finally did The Sentinel.
We did it.
All right, everyone. Well, before we announce what we're covering next week, some quick housekeeping. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, please join our Horror Queers Discord. That link is in the show notes. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want even more content, please support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/horrorqueers. If you subscribe today, you'll get 439 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Hannibal Season 2, episodes 11, 12, and 13.
Ooh, December.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Hopefully it's better than the first one. Paul Feig's The Housemaid. Wake Up Dead Man. And I'll actually, to coincide with that third Benoit Blanc mystery, we got an audio commentary on the original Knives Out.
Yeah, we might also be sneaking in an extra bonus audio commentary because I think it's time for us to release our discussion of Scream 3 from the Soho Horror Fest earlier this year.
Yes. Good times talking about that movie. But, Joe, we have another movie you've been wanting to cover for a while next week. What is it?
This is true, yes. I was originally going to hold off on programming this because we have gotten a tease that we're going to get a sequel, and then the sequel just never fucking materializes. So I'm programming it, Trace, because I want to talk about Dane DeHaan's queer-coded villain in Chronicle.
Yes, I've only seen this once, and I remember liking it, but I don't really remember much about it.
Yeah, I remember liking it quite a bit, being surprised by it, and also just my gaydar tinging the whole fucking movie.
And I haven't watched it through a queer lens. I mean, outside of, my lens, but with that in mind, I guess. So
there we go.
I'm really excited to revisit this. Also, Josh Trank before he got Fantastic Four. So
yes, his more successful superhero film.
Ooh, but I didn't realize this. Do you know who wrote Chronicle?
I do not. Who?
Max Landis.
Oh, Jesus God. Okay.
So warning about that, everyone. But until next week, we can cross out the Sentinel.
Sentinel, yes. And cross out Horror Queers.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Sign up for Greenlight today at greenlight.com/podcast.
This holiday season, the last place you want to be is the naughty list. Rowan Campbell plays a bloodthirsty Santa in Silent Night, Deadly Night. Director Mike P. Nelson's grisly update to the most controversial horror film ever made is only in theaters December 12th. Go to sndnmovie.com for updates. This Christmas, Santa's gonna slay.